Hey, it's Suze, and welcome to tonight's episode of Keep the Bad Guys Away. Oh boy, bad guys out today. I knew this was going to happen. Boy, okay, now tonight is all about the missing money, missing child support money. It is a total scandal. It's probably one of the biggest child support scandals ever. Totally crazy. I tried again. What happened today is that, actually it was yesterday, I tried to open up my son's child support case again where I am. And then today, instead of getting a phone call from the county that I'm in, I got a phone call from a lady that had a toll-free number. When I called it, it went down into Los Angeles. I'm like, uh-oh, here we go again. Here we go again. They have hacked the child support case. It's another total scandal. So let me give you a little bit of history on this child support case. Okay, so when I was filling out the paperwork for my son for his custody case back in 2004, there was this section for child support, and I was like, okay, I guess I got to fill this out. Well, I had gotten a consult from a pro bono attorney there in Humboldt County, California. And so, I go down there, and I didn't have an attorney myself, so I just get this pro bono attorney, and then he said, oh, well, just put down like $500. He said, well, you're never going to get that much more, than that anyway. So he told me to put down $500. So I put down $500 and I filed the thing. At that time, I was more worried about custody and keeping my son from being hightailed to Iran than worried about child support. I was just trying to fill in the blanks, So anyway, so the case was complete. So, okay, so that's how it got filed initially. So now then, all right, I filed this thing, and then my mom had come out, and there was this, whole thing. I had already got my son into the State Department's passport prevention program, and, with the State Department. And then, my mom came out and was just like, oh my God, we called my neighbor Charlie, who is a retired undercover drug detective with Dayton PD, and he wanted an FBI report made, and he connected me to Las Vegas FBI, so the FBI report was made. And then my mom and I got thinking about this. It's like, okay, this is way too big, oh my God, I better get an attorney. So my mom, Brenda Nisley, the one that's now missing, she actually paid for an attorney for my son, and her name was Joan Gallegos, and she was married to Paul Gallegos, who is the district attorney for Humboldt County, California. And now apparently, the word on the street is that Joan was a total bitch. I mean, she was the one attorney you wanted to get, because she could really tell people to shove it. And Mom and I were like, hey dude, we need an attorney that can tell someone to shove it. We got to protect Munchkin from going to Iran, right? So my mom drops $5,000 on her credit card to pay Joan Gallegos. So now anyway, during our initial consult, when my mom was there in Joan's office, I told Joan, I said, I reported my son's father to the FBI, and I'm like, to FBI agent Darren Murphy, and she's like, oh, I'll never forget the look on her face. Oh, what did Agent Murphy say? And I'm like, oh, well, Agent Murphy said he was going to follow him for a while and see what he was up to. And if he didn't find anything, he was going to see if ICE wanted to pick him up. And she was like, oh, and dude, she never took me seriously. But anyway, so then, court, the first hearing was a disaster. Obviously, the judge didn't read the motion, because the motion that I originally filed had information in it from the State Department's website on how serious the issue of child abduction was. The judge didn't read it. Joan had to tell the judge to shove it, stop and read it. So he had to stop court, and he had to read the motion. After he read the motion and read the stuff from the State Department, then he made the, Suze has got full custody and Dad has no visitation. Okay, so then Dad has to pop up and he has to say, oh, I want a paternity test. I want a paternity test. And then here's Joan fighting with him, and she's like, okay, he signs the birth certificate, on the day the kid was born, and now he's claiming that he, needs a paternity test. But oh, how Judge, I think it was Reinholdston up there in Humboldt County, just, got to give Dad one another chance. So anyway, I don't think child support was ordered initially because we had to do with this paternity test. So crazy situation. Of course he's my son's father. My God, I'm not a damn slut. I was so mad. They're always trying, these guys are always trying to make it look bad. So, but anyway, he requests a paternity test. So I don't know if you've ever taken a paternity test, but here's how it works. So I brought my son and I down to where they have the lab person, and I think it was actually in the courthouse. So now I had to say, hi, I'm Susan Isley, and they said, oh, well, we need some identification. Gave them my identification. And then, you know, Adrian is just a teeny little baby. Well, he didn't have a driver's license. He doesn't have like a passport. He doesn't have any of that. So he didn't have any ID on him, but this was the kid, okay? He's a baby, he's an infant. He's just like a couple months old. He just got out of the neonatal intensive care unit from 2 different hospitals, from St. Joseph's in Eureka and then UCSF down in San Francisco. So, you know, the kid doesn't have an ID, okay? But all right, they needed my identification, so I gave them my identification, did this little cotton swab thing, and then they send it off. Okay, so then a few months later, I get the results of this paternity test, and I'm looking at this paternity test, and it says, okay, Paymon Safavi, it's 99.9% positive that Paymon Safavi is the father of whatever, the kid. And I'm like, okay, well, oh wait, hold on, Paymon Safavi? And I'm thinking to myself, well, for years I dated him as Ruzbe Kameh. So in Nevada, he's Ruzbe Kameh. I mean, I knew him as Ruzbe Kameh for many, 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 many years. Ruzbe Kameh has a Nevada driver's license. Ruzbe Kameh has a social security number. Ruzbe Kameh drove a BMW 540i, was like, you know, just had so much money he didn't know what to do with. I mean, anytime we went out on a date, anytime we went anywhere, he always was like pulling wads of cash. They were always like $100 bills. I mean, you know, the guy shopped at the finest stores, wore the finest cologne. He had a high-end BMW 540i special edition. The tires on that car cost more than anything a lot of people own. And, you know, he'd spend more than $500 a night on a date when we went out, you know, back in the day. So, you know, okay, so here's how it went. And he was a mortgage loan officer. He was making, like, God, so some months he made like $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month, $20,000 a month, okay? I mean, Ruzbe Kameh had a lot of money. So I get this paternity test, and it says, Paymon Safavi is the father of my child. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm like really flipping confused here, dude. So I went down to the child support agency, went down to Humboldt County, California Child Support Agency, and I'm like, okay, I need to see the paperwork, the documentation that you have that supports that Paymon Safavi is the father of my child. Because, you know, if you read the court motion, I put on there, you know, Susan Isley against versus Ruzbe Kameh, aka Paymon Safavi, or I might have put it the other way, Paymon Safavi, because that's what we were on the birth certificate, aka Ruzbe Kameh, Ruzbe Alex Kameh. So anyway, how did you come up with the fact that he's Paymon Safavi? I want to see this. Did he provide an ID? Because the only ID that I know that he ever had was Ruzbe Kameh, a Nevada driver's license of Ruzbe Kameh. So they went and they pulled the file and they looked at it and they turned the paperwork over, and then they saw my name, and then they saw, you know, that I provided my Nevada driver's license and all that, and then they looked where Dad's section was, no ID. He did not provide identification for the paternity test. So the child support office told me, they said, okay, this was an oversight on behalf of our office. And I'm like thinking to myself, oh, okay, well, so they have admitted to me it's an oversight on behalf of their office. So then I went down to Joan Gallego's office and I told her just what happened. And she like didn't take it seriously. Like she totally didn't take it seriously at all. I'm like, Joan, my mom just dropped $5 grand on a credit card. You're charging $350 an hour. Take some of that money out of the pot and let's go down. I need you to look at this. Look at what I just found at the child support office. I'm like, he didn't provide ID when he took the test. Joan, this paternity test is not right. This is not right. This is not right. Come down, look at it, charge your hourly fee. And like, she wouldn't do it. She just wouldn't take it darn seriously. She's like, oh, it's right. Oh, it's right. Because she had a copy of it because I had mailed it to her and whatever the hell. And I'm like, dude, I'm thinking, this is all freaking jacked up, dude. I'm like, Paymon Safavi is the father of my child. Well, for years I dated him as Ruzbe Alex Kameh, so this is all whacked out. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so this is good. This is bad. So, and then when we got to court, you know, nobody ever did anything about it. The attorney for the child support agency, Alan Woodworth, he was like, oh, paternity has been established by our office. And I'm thinking to myself, what wait a minute, hold on. Your office member said that it was an oversight on behalf of your office, and now the attorney goes to court and says, paternity has been established, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what, okay, it's 99.9% biologically positive that he is my son's father. I know that. I slept with them. I mean, come on, dude. You know, I know that part, but like, what is his name? I mean, you know, this, you know, it's like, who's your daddy? I mean, really? So I didn't know what the hell to damn think about it, but this has been causation of a lot of the problems, a lot of the legal problems that has to do with my son. Now, remember, I talked about my other videos that, you know, the dad ended up being, you know, investigated by the FBI, investigated by Homeland Security, was arrested by Homeland Security investigations down in Las Vegas, and they thought that he was a terrorist or involved in terrorism. So remember, we're dealing with terrorism here. And so I'm just like, this is totally crazy. And I'll never forget when Peter Lazaro ended up arresting him back in March of 2005. You know, I told him about this paternity test. I was like, you know, because I was like, Adrian Lazaro's getting away with everything. I mean, court was just crazy after that up in Humboldt County. Peter Lazaro's getting away with like everything. And then I told him about this paternity test. And you know what? Okay, now this is Senior Special Agent Peter Lazaro. He's an FBI agent with Homeland Security Investigations. And when I told him about what the hell happened with this paternity test, you know what he said to me? He goes, well, he never should have been allowed to take the test. I'm like, I know, Agent Lazaro, but you know, I was allowed to take the test. I mean, you know, and then I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I thought that Peter Lazaro would do something about that. I don't know if he wrapped that into any kind of felony charges, because apparently, you know, the guy had multiple felony charges. You know, I asked Peter Lazaro, does he have any felony charges? You know, he's like, a few. And I'm like, you know, but his nonverbal was more like a lot. So I don't know if he wrapped that in to the felony charges that were ended up somehow disappearing. I don't know what the hell, dude. But I mean, but Homeland Security at least knew about it at one point. And that's why I said to Agent Lazaro, I mean, he's an FBI agent. He told me he was an FBI agent. And he just works with a more intelligent agency, which is Homeland Security Investigations. But anyway, I don't know why he never fixed it. Oh, so anyway, but like I said, that has been causation of a lot of these problems. Now, when I got back to Las Vegas, was able to escape out of that corrupt, you know, Humboldt County, I opened up a child support case down in Clark County, Nevada, which is Las Vegas, kind of inadvertently because, you know, I ended up losing a nursing job because Adrian got sick at daycare and I couldn't go to work. So I ended up losing a nursing job, and then my son and I, we had to go on the Nevada welfare system. So here I'm a registered nurse for a zillion years. I got this whole conspiracy already up in Humboldt County, California on this whole child support thing. And then mom's ending up on Nevada welfare. Now, I just want you to know I was getting food stamps, Nevada Medicaid, and they were paying for the medical bills too. So, I mean, that's really crazy for somebody with a bachelor's degree in nursing to be on Medicaid. But you know what, when you're my kind of situation, I mean, it just happened. I mean, hell, I ran out of money, and then, you know, unfortunately was qualified. But, so anyway, then a child support case was opened in Clark County, Nevada, and you know, the chick at the child support agency was like, oh yeah, you know, hold after him because, you know, he's jacked you into this situation, especially when the state was paying out. But the kicker about it is that the state of California even paid for a lot of my son's medical bills early on in life when he was in the neonatal intensive care unit, like I said, at St. Joseph Hospital and at UCSF. So they paid hundreds of thousands of dollars out of state government money for this kid as well. And, you know, and then here Humboldt County child support just, you know, pretty much blew off the whole damn thing, never held the dad accountable and all of that. So, I mean, you know, I was trying to believe that this chick in Clark County, Nevada was really going to go after him for jacking us in the situation in Nevada, but I was like, okay, I guess we'll just wait and see. Well, I got to tell you that the Clark County District Attorney, I went down there and I can't even tell you how much documentation I dropped off. Tons, stacks, anything that I could think of. You know, anything I could find that had to do with the fact that dad was Ruse Bay Kamei, because he was Ruse Bay Kamei in Las Vegas. He was licensed by the state of Nevada as a mortgage loan officer. He did mortgage loans through Desert Valley Mortgage and through Summerlin Mortgage Company. He even did the loan for my home in Las Vegas. Okay, I mean, I know he was a loan officer. I actually would go to places like U.S. Bank, to some of these title companies when he was dropping off files. I know he did loans for clients. I saw his clients in his office. Okay, so Ruse Bay Kamei. So I was trying to convince the Clark County district attorney office of this with tons and tons and tons of paperwork. So, but anyway, they never showed up for court. I mean, there were custody cases in Las Vegas, and the Clark County District Attorney's office or child support office never even bothered to show up for court. They were even on calendar one time and they never showed up. So eventually I reported both child support agencies to the Federal Region 9 office in Sacramento, California. And what the chick in Sacramento, California did, now remember, this is at the federal level now, she said that she was going to contact both these child support agencies because they have to report to her as to why I guess they're not doing anything. I was like, oh, okay, well, God, that'd be good. Okay, hit this up at the federal level. This is such a damn disaster. I never heard back from the office of Sacramento either. Federal Region 9, who's over these two child support agencies in this district, federal district area, I never heard back from them either. I'm like, I went back, son of a gun, dude, why the hell is everybody letting, this fool get away with stuff? Rusbek Kameh had a ton of dough, tons. He had tons and tons and tons of money. Okay, Payman Safadi would go to court and claim to have no assets and not working, no job, and can't pay child support. So, I mean, it was a total freaking scandal. And then the trouble is that it was a scandal right out in the open for anybody to see with evidence to prove that was so easy. Not to mention, one would think that since you had the FBI already looking into him, and since you had Homeland Security investigations arrest him, one would think that one of those agencies would step in, but I don't know, they just never stepped in. Nobody ever did anything. Like, nobody ever did anything. So, eventually I just, I guess I just had to give up on it. I mean, we ended up terminating parental rights for my son in Clark County, Las Vegas, Nevada, and, Attorney Randy Roski, he was just kind of like, he couldn't believe this child support case either. He was kind of coming in on the tail end of this. And, he was just like, well, you got to get away from this jerk. So I guess, we just can't worry about child support anyway. And I had to agree with him because when you go through all kinds of hell between two counties, when both state governments are paying off for this kid, and then you got the child support offices not going after the father at all, and there's money there to be picked up, and then the federal region, they don't do anything. It's like, I guess you just finally say hell with it, But anyway, so when everything broke back in 2010, and this letter came out, I'm like, oh, well, let me try this again, because I thought this resolving this child support issue might, hold some people accountable, because I got to tell you, that whole situation totally put me through a lot of hell and a lot of time, trying to convince these child support offices to do something about this father, which they never did. So it took a lot of my time, not to mention it financially impacted me tremendously. So anyway, I thought once I had this letter, maybe I could get somebody to do something. Well, yeah, God, let me tell you, boy, this continues to be a nightmare, including what happened today. So I didn't think about opening it in Arizona. I kept thinking, I don't know, I guess I kept thinking the authorities in Arizona, between the marshals and maybe the FBI there. I mean, the Phoenix police want me to work with the FBI and the marshal service, so I tried that. I even contacted Homeland Security myself in Phoenix and stuff, and they came out, and then nothing ever changed. So I don't know, I didn't think about really opening my son's child support case until I got to Hidalgo County, Texas a couple years ago. So this was Edinburgh, McAllen, Texas. And I'm like, well, this might be a good way for me to trail my son, I'll just, it's like he owes me money. The asshole needs to go to damn prison. He's apparently out roaming the streets. We're supposed to be reporting into ICE down in Southern California, apparently. And so I'm like, dude, I need to get this guy thrown in prison since Eric Holder is not doing anything. Since Ronald Weiss and Eric Holder's not doing anything, then let me see if I can try this child support case again, and maybe I can find my kid, and stuff like that. And hell, I needed the darn money, because then, that would help me get, rescue Adrian from a foreign country. So I'm like, well, so I opened it in McAllen, Texas. So that is Hidalgo County, Texas. And so I opened it, but then right after I opened it, then I got railroaded, stalked, and then, I had to put in a 2 weeks notice, and then I put in a 2 weeks notice, so I lost my job there in that county, and then I get stalked, I get pushed up into Dallas, and then I lived, at the Salvation Army in Dallas, because I got screwed over by a human trafficking coalition up there. So a private human trafficking coalition, the Mosaic Human Trafficking Coalition, screwed me over, wouldn't help me and all that. So I got railroaded in Dallas, So then I went from there, and I worked in Tuba City, Arizona. I got railroaded in Tuba City, Arizona, lost money, had to call the marshals up in Oregon. Then somehow ended up in Los Angeles. And I said, and then of course I went to Congress, and Congress wouldn't help me. They wouldn't call the DOJ. They wouldn't help me get into WITSEC. This was down in Long Beach. You know, and I'm like, geez, OP. You know, I'll never forget what this one congressman, what his staff member said. He goes, Susan, he goes, Susan, you have the equivalent of breast cancer. It's organized crime. There is no cure. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no cure. I'm like, why don't you put me in the Federal Witness Protection Program? And he's like, you want me to call the Department of Justice? I'm like, yeah, call the Department of Justice, dude. What the damn hell is to be in the program? And he's just like, anyway, so apparently I have the equivalent of breast cancer. It's organized crime and there's no cure. But so this is almost like a race for the cure. So but anyway, I thought I would try. I'll just open my son's child support case there. I mean, it was a horrible situation. I'd actually gotten railroaded. I lived on the streets for a few weeks. I ended up getting a lot of property taken by a nurse that worked for one of my staffing companies, because apparently she got pissed because Homeland Security had called me when I was down there in Los Angeles. I got a call from Homeland Security down in LA, and you know, she got mad because apparently her ex-boyfriend, ex-husband has been arrested by ICE, deported many times, keeps coming back, gets deported, keeps coming back, and whatever. Was in prison in Florence, Arizona, and keeps coming back. So anyway, so she got mad at me. She goes, you can't talk to Homeland Security. They look into everything. And I'm like, well, dude, I know that. They're very thorough. But anyway, she got mad at me. She sold all my stuff. So, but that was right after, you know, I had opened up my son's child support case. But anyway, so I was living on the streets for a while, living homeless. I slept on the beach of Santa Monica for a couple weeks. I had worked one nursing shift through supplemental health care. They could only give me one nursing shift down in Whittier, California, which is a little city in LA County. So I worked one nursing shift there, then payday comes, and then I didn't get my money, and then I couldn't get the Santa Monica police to do anything. And so then I had to call Top Secret Special Agent Krill, who's a Homeland Security. He's special agent down in Texas. But I have a whole video on that. You'd have to watch my video, Financial Hate Crimes by the Police. But anyway, that's Top Secret Special Agent Krill. But all this was going on, and it was all retaliation. I know it was retaliation because I had opened my son's child support case. And then didn't hear anything, you know, and whatever, you know, and I sent them this letter. It's around their Homeland Security, sent them this letter, and, you know, they don't do anything. Wound up in Alaska, and then I went back down to Texas. Eventually, I went back down to Texas. So this is back the beginning of this year. So I finally get back to Texas after about a year or so of being gone. And then so I looked online, and there was, I looked online at the Texas Department of Health and Human Services, and then it's like my child support case wasn't there, and they were saying to call this number. I'm like, oh God, wait a minute, where the hell is my damn child support case? And then I'm like, I got thinking about the situations, you know, if you watch my other video that says, you know, missing, not dead, please contact Interpol, it ties in with that. So, you know, I called the sheriff's office over in Hidalgo County, and I talked to this deputy. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, deputy, I'm like, oh, okay, so my child support case seems to be missing. I'm like, I think I have a missing child support case. And I said, I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, you know, what happens, you know, I opened it, and what happens if your DA, like, looked into it? And, you know, they got some kind of documentation that my son was dead, or somebody was believing that my son was dead, you know, and then, like I said, that ties in with the whole scandal of, you know, no, State Department got to find out what airport they're listing, you know, they were missing from, and Homeland Security's got some story and all that. Like, you have to watch my other video to hear that. And then, you know, I'm like, I'm just thinking to myself, you know, is that why my son's child support case vanished? You know, because if your DA is thinking that he's dead and he's really, like, missing, you know, I could see maybe why it just sort of went away or whatever. And I'll never forget this deputy. He's like, I think that we'll probably have to prosecute this on a state level. I'm like, well, yeah, you know. So anyway, I eventually I had gone back up to Barrow, Alaska. I almost got killed. I almost ended up in the Arctic Ocean, and then I flew into Mexico, and then I came back in. Should never came back into the United States a few months ago. But anyway, I came back into Hidalgo County, and I just said, okay, I'm going to reopen this child support case because I already got the deputy and the sheriff's office that knows us, you know, that there was a problem before. So I'm like, okay, I'll go to the district who knows I got the problem before. And so, holy cow, I reopened that child support case, and oh my God, that's when all hell started again. It started again. I'm like, and that's when I got kidnapped in the sex trafficking ring and all my stuff got taken and all that. I'm telling you, dude, man, there's something up with this money. Nobody wants this child support case open. Nobody wants this child support case open. Oh, but there was one other thing that actually happened before that. I got a call. I got a call from the Los Angeles County Child Support Office when I was in Sugar Land, Texas, at some point last year, and they're calling me. This is LA County Child Support Office, LA County, California Child Support Office. They're just calling me and they're just saying, oh, well, we can't find him. We can't find him. We can't find him. And I'm sitting there thinking, what do you mean you can't find him? What, you can't find the father? Don't tell me you can't find the father. I sent you this damn letter. It says Homeland Security. You got a Homeland Security office right there in Los Angeles. Homeland Security knows me. I got agents. Did you call Homeland Security? He's supposed to be reporting into ICE in Southern California. And it's like, of course, and they're just like, oh, we can't find him. Dude, they didn't even look. They're just, the LA County Child Support Office is just as bad as the Humboldt County Child Support Office, which is just as bad as the Clark County District Attorney Child Support Office. And I'm like, oh my God. So when I called down this number, I get this voicemail today. You know, I'd opened my son's child support case yesterday online, and I get this phone call today to call this chick back, you know, and then she's just saying like, well, I didn't actually get to speak to anybody, but it automatically transfers down to LA. When I call the number, it transfers down to LA. And I'm like, here they go again. They're just going to sit there and say, oh, Susan, why are you opening the child support case? We can't find him. Dude, you're not even trying. You haven't tried. You did nothing. You financially impacted me on purpose. These child support agencies. You're all trying to damn freaking cover up for the mistake in properly identifying the father up in Humboldt County. So you got your damn district attorneys trying to protect the district attorney that really effed up there in Humboldt County on purpose. For whatever reason, the heck, Humboldt County wanted to, you know, conspire with Al-Qaeda. I mean, don't ask me why the child support agency is conspiring with Al-Qaeda. They getting paid off by Al-Qaeda? I don't know, dude. I'm just telling you that's what happened today. So, you know what? I just don't think that I'm going to be able to get child support, to get this child support arrears issue taken care of, to actually get the money that my son deserves. I mean, if I was able to get the money that my child deserves, you know, if I were to get it, then I would have enough money to go scouring around the world and figure out where he is with foreign governments. So that's another thing these damn child support offices do, is they intentionally financially impact me so I can't do anything positive for my son, all because the child support agencies want to work in a conspiracy with Al-Qaeda. I mean, you know, I don't know who the heck's more of the terrorists, Al-Qaeda or the child support agencies. They're really both the same damn people. And I got a missing kid somewhere in the world that's wrapped within a terrorist organization, partly because of these damn stupid child support agencies in Humboldt County, California, in Los Angeles, California, in Hidalgo County, Texas, Clark County, Nevada, and the Federal Region 9 office in Sacramento, California. So, you know what? I mean, they are just damn flipping criminals. Damn flipping criminals, dude. So, you know what? I just think this child support case and everything that has to do with my son, if anything's going to be handled within the United States, is not going to be from anybody else except for ICE or Homeland Security investigations. There's just no other way, because everybody else is just way, 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 way too corrupt. So, anyway, I mean, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. They would purposefully not go after a father when his assets would have been easy to find, because they would have had federal help, either from the FBI or they would have had federal help from Homeland Security. We're talking many, many years ago. You know, they could have gotten some help or something. They didn't even try. That's the point. They didn't even try. They never even tried. They could have thrown him in prison. They could have shipped him back to Texas because he has a different identity in Texas. He has a warrant out in Texas. They didn't even try. So, you know what? I mean, I've totally had it with this whole child support thing. So I'm not calling back this damn stupid LA County corrupt damn district attorney's office, this child support agency that's getting paid off. I'm just not doing it. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I got Homeland Security investigations down there. I got my other agents. They can just throw them in prison for jacking me in this damn situation again. So, but anyway, this is just one of the many things that my little son has been affected by, has been screwed over by the United States of America. You know, not getting the financial support that he needs to have a decent life for a little boy, and then including the fact that my son had all these medical issues. There was never, ever, ever in a child support order a medical provision in which the father would have to be responsible for his medical bills. You know, anything that wasn't paid for by another source, whether that was a Medi-Cal, Medicaid, or by my private insurance, I had to eat. And let me tell you, these days, as of today, as of 2014, I still have medical bills on my credit report for my son that I haven't had in 5 years that was kidnapped in Las Vegas. So, you know, I ain't paying for this damn crap. And I ain't, you know, this stupid Eric Holder's supposed to be doing something there up there in the DOJ, and he's not. And Congress sucks, and all these child support agencies are corrupt. So, you know, I don't know, dude. If Homeland Security, hopefully they can fix it. Hopefully they're probably going to be the only ones that are going to end up saving Adrian. It's not going to be anybody else in America. If anybody saves this kid in America, it's going to end up being ICE. So anyway, it's really, really sad. But just keep in mind, if you don't know anything about Al-Qaeda, one thing that they look at on a federal level is that they look at financing. You know, how does Al-Qaeda work? Well, a terrorist organization wouldn't work unless they had money to do so, money to operate. So terrorism financing, or the financing of terrorism, or how his father ended up making money, is also intermixed into this case. So that's kind of up for debate. Who knows? They might have done something on a federal level with that as well. Scammed him. Who knows? But for whatever reason, everybody seemed to conspire with Al-Qaeda and conspire with the corruption instead of helping little Adrian, and certainly helping little me. So anyway, that's it. This is like almost like screw over the little kid, you know, sad story tonight. But I don't know. I'll keep you posted, but I can tell you right now, I am not calling the Los Angeles County child support office back, because, you know, I was very, very clear when I opened this case yesterday. I put terrorism related. The case is terrorism related, and then I put I only deal with Homeland Security investigations. I was very clear when I reopened this. I only deal with Homeland Security investigations. And it's terrorism related. And if they can't, and I gave him his A number. I said, here's his father. I said, here is the father's A number. So he's ICE criminal alien A986984453. That is what they call an A number under ICE or under Homeland Security. It is an A number that is an identification number. So the only reason for the LA County, you know, for them to be calling me, this child support office in LA County, is because they don't want to call Homeland Security. They don't want to call ICE. They don't want to call Homeland Security. They don't want to deal with Homeland Security. Why? Because Homeland Security will look into everything. So that's why they're coming back to me. And let me tell you, I'm throwing this right back in your face. They'll own your damn child support agency, so you better watch out. So anyway, that's it. I don't know. I feel sorry for any kid that might be in this situation, but I'm telling you, these child support agencies are around the country, including these federal oversight agencies like Federal Region 9 in Sacramento, very, very corrupt. So just watch your back, guys. So that's it. That's it for tonight on Keep the Bad Guys Away. I'm sure I'll get retaliated for this one too, but I got my stun gun from Damsel in Defense. And so anyway, hope you have a great night. I'm tired. I've been up all day. I had to work today. I'm going to bed. Have a good one. See you next time.